Static hums and buzzes, voices cut the silence. Truth ain't taking pauses. We the people Wednesday, speak loud, speak clear. Screech owls calling, Reddit's got your ear.
We the People Wednesday will begin in just a few short minutes, folks. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you still have time to jump over to the VIP Backstage Lounge at ripinrabbithole.com. If you are listening on demand, go ahead and fast forward to about the 3-minute mark and you will jump into tonight's live show. Stay tuned, folks. Show starts soon.
Late night highway, headlights chasing dreams. The rip on rabbit hole ain't as crazy as it seems. Ain't no polished lines, just hearts and fire. We the people Wednesday, speak loud, speak clear. Screech owls calling, red's got your.
Ripin' Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripin' Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Late night highway, headlights chasing dreams. The rip on rabbit hole ain't as crazy as it seems. Ain't no polished lines, just hearts and fire. We the people Wednesday, shout what's real. Screech owls watching, red's got the wheel. Eyes wave in the static air, freedom's crackling everywhere. Every voice matters, every voice dares. Dares! Late night highway, headlights chasing dreams. The rip on rabbit hole ain't as crazy as it seems. Ain't no polished lines to dreams. The rip on rabbit hole ain't as crazy as it seems. Ain't no polished lines, just hearts and fire. We no polished lines, just hearts and fire. We the people Wednesday, shout what's real. Screech owls watching.
Good evening and welcome to We the People Wednesday. It is Wednesday, May 13th, 2026. I am Screech Owl Scott,
And I am Red.
and we want to thank you, our co-hosts, for joining us right here on Ripin' Common Sense Radio, where your voice will be heard around the world as we discuss hot topics, recent news, and new developments. If you've dialed up We the People Wednesday, congratulations. You can now declare yourself one of the We the People people. If you are listening on Rumble or over on YouTube, please give We the People a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so that you will receive notifications each and every time we go live. If you want to be a part of the conversation, join us in the VIP Backstage Lounge at ripinrabbithole.com.
You lost your train
I
of thought.
lost my train of thought. Thinking ahead. When you get to Ripin' Rabbit Hole, click on that 24/7 tab in the taskbar. Scroll down until you see the Backstage Lounge. Click on the big red Enter Now button. Allow the permissives and join the fun. The Backstage Lounge is free and always will be. It's a great place to meet new friends and talk about anything that you want to. And we can speak from experience when we say that you will often find We the People deep into the early AM hours. That is ripinrabbithole.com. RIPONRABBITHOLE.com. There are just a very few simple rules. Please remain respectful to others at all times. Raise your hand when you have something you want to say, and most of all, have fun because this is a show for We the People.
And if you've never been in the backstage lounge before, allow your permissives if you want to, raise your hand and speak. You do not need a username or password to get into the backstage, just like my vote.
Just like my vote. Yep. We'll keep it real simple for people, Red. They don't have to identify themselves if they don't want to.
You know what? Kind of sort of speaking of my vote, do you want to get to that in a little bit?
Yeah, folks,
I just found it, so.
I know, but I want people to know that the promo went out, and we are going to talk about the hot mess that is the RPW, the Republican Party convention this weekend, and just we want to talk about it because I'm frustrated by it. I know that other people are. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But there was some news that a tweet, Red, I believe, that just came across your phone.
Yep.
Like just minutes before we went on.
Yeah, just before coming on. And actually it was posted 2 days ago. So, but Marjorie Taylor Greene posted on Facebook, exposed 64,000 mail-in ballots were Xeroxed in the back of the conference room during the Milwaukee, Wisconsin 2020 election by Claire Woodall-Vogue, which were all for Joe Biden. She was then caught on camera at 3 a.m. on November 4th, uploading the fraudulent tabulated votes on flash drives without any chain of custody or election observers to steal Wisconsin for Joe Biden in 2020. An email from Ryan Chu at Election Group emailed Claire Woodall-Vogue stating, "Damn, Claire, you have a flair for drama, delivering just the margin needed at 3 a.m. She was caught and fired. How many other election workers in other states committed fraud just like this that got away with it? The 2020 election was stolen."
So that came from Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then I saw Red just before we went on, and I didn't have a chance to upload the video. It was, but breaking. We've just learned the FBI went to the home of Milwaukee County's election director in an attempt to interview her. Apparently she wasn't home. They left a card, and I'm told that they expect a call back to inquire about what the visit was about. But I think maybe some things are shaken down in Wisconsin. I'm hopeful.
It's Wisconsin's time.
I am so hopeful that things are on the mend or about to be on the mend. That nothing would make me happier, Red, than to see some people being held accountable and all of this corruption exposed on a big scale.
Exactly. And it's long overdue, in my opinion.
It really
way
is.
long overdue. But, you were also listening. We will get into the RNC. But, and I'm not going to...
No, the Wisconsin Republican
I'm sorry.
Party, not
I'm
the
sorry.
RNC. Yes.
RPW.
Yes.
I don't want to give him any praise or promote him, but it sounds to me like they're having kind of the same problem over on the Democrat side.
And you're referring to Kurt Bangstad, who now, and we saw the interview before we went on, that there's talk that the Democratic Party, who has their convention in June, is not going to allow him to speak at convention.
Yep, and they asked him, "What are you going to do?" He goes, "I'll speak right outside the door." So maybe that's what our people need to do.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I came from that side, Red. It's happening on both sides. There's the level of corruption is beyond belief to most people, I think.
Yeah, because a lot of people on our side will say, they've got it all together, as in the Democrats. The Democrats do not have it all together. Despite what people think. And I say that because people are so worried that if you speak bad about the right, that you're automatically going to give them the win. And that's not necessarily true. Not to mention, just because you speak bad about one side or the other, you also have to remember, in Wisconsin, there are at least what is it, 6 or 8 independent voters, or, candidates, along with whatever other parties. So you need to really pull in from those independent voters
Well,
no matter what.
it'll be interesting, Red. No matter what happens. But tonight I want to talk about the convention and what the news that broke this week that is really troublesome to me. And we've experienced it before in the Republican Party. Uh, you know,
Yep, we have.
and so folks listening, so the annual convention that is held by each of the major parties and the Republicans, they have criteria that you have to meet in order to be invited to speak at the convention.
Correct.
And they do endorse at the convention.
Which to me is insane because the primary's not until August.
And part of that endorsement process is then to use the criteria that they have to speak as part of the endorsement procedure.
Correct.
And it was brought to our attention this week.
Unfortunately, I think my notes are in the car.
It doesn't matter. I got it all up here in my head.
Okay, I'm glad.
Although
you
my
remember.
head is suffering from pizza fatigue right now because we pounded down some, and we'll talk about that at the break. But
yes,
in any event, it was brought to our attention earlier this week.
or last week, but yeah. Don't roll your eyes at me. It's true.
It was brought to our attention what happened. And so, folks, in Wisconsin, we've got 4 candidates for Secretary of State.
Correct. And I will say real quick, Catherine says the endorsement is somewhat in order to give the preferred candidate money. And I realize that, and that's the part that bothers me because, you know, you hear all the time, you can't win, you can't win. Well, gee, I wonder why. Because you don't push all candidates.
But here would be my discouragement with that is if you're going to endorse at the convention, you have to hear from all the candidates to know who the people prefer.
Exactly.
So let's back up. We've got 4 candidates for the Secretary of State position. We've got Nate
under the Republican Party.
Yes, so we've got Nate Pollnow, who is, I'm told, is the establishment pick.
Exactly.
He's got a lot of the Madison people supporting his campaign, and so he's one of the candidates.
Correct.
Then we've got three others.
Yep.
We've got Jay Schroeder, who ran for Secretary of State 2 years ago.
Yep. And then you have Cindy Werner, which was a lieutenant governor candidate two years ago.
So both of those folks have been on statewide ballots before.
Correct.
And we've got the newcomer to the group.
Correct.
Brayden Myer.
Yes.
Okay, so
that has not ran for anything statewide.
Right, and Brayden Myer is a young man.
4 years ago. Sorry. Thank you, Corey, for the correction. We said
Yes,
2 years ago.
thank you,
It was
Corey.
4 years ago.
It's pizza fatigue.
Exactly.
So it was brought to our attention that Brayden Myer, who was focused on being able to speak at the convention.
Exactly.
And we had spoken to Brayden a month ago.
Yep.
And so the deadline, so the way it works in Wisconsin, you have to have for that race, you have to have raised $10,000, and it has to come from a minimum of 100
different
unique donors.
Yep, different donors.
So
Correct.
that's the monetary criteria.
Correct.
That has to be met in order for you to speak at convention. And Brayden spoke to us toward it was about a week, 10 days before the deadline, which was...
Yeah, because they told him shortly before the deadline. They didn't give him much time.
In any event, the young man went out and was focused on raising the necessary funds from the necessary number of people so that he would be allowed to speak at convention.
And he exceeded it. I didn't ask how much, and it's none of my business.
No, he met the threshold.
And exceeded.
He exceeded the monetary amount of money,
along with the 100
more than 100 donors.
Unique donors. Yep.
And he met that criteria. Now, so then, the deadline was April 30th to have met that criteria.
I don't remember the deadline,
and,
but yeah.
and Brayden and his campaign immediately reached out to the RPW to say, okay, we've met your criteria.
Yep.
And just to verify that he would be allowed to speak at convention. And they did this within 2 days of that deadline lapsing.
Right.
And they didn't hear back from the state party.
Nope. Not yet.
And I think they sent additional emails.
Yep. They sent an
to
additional email on April 15th.
To say, am I going to be allowed? I met the criteria. I will be able to speak, correct?
The RPW. Okay.
And the RPW came back on
April 15th.
April 15th now and said, okay, Brayden, there's one more step you need to take. We're holding interviews in Tomah, Wisconsin, and for those not familiar with geography, it's
pretty much
south,
in the middle,
central part of the state.
Yeah, almost the middle of the state,
and
but just south a little. And the interviews would be held on April 17th. So 2 days notice.
So he had 2 days notice. So Brayden, who wanted to speak at convention, shuffled his schedule around, canceled some events that he was supposed to attend on the 17th so that he could take part in the interview process.
And, you have to understand that Brayden Myer will go over state constitution, county constitution, RPW constitution, and read it with a fine-tooth comb. So he understands exactly what's being said and what
he crosses his T's and dots his I's
yes,
when he does his research. He really does. I give the young man a lot of credit for that.
Yep.
So Brayden went to the interview process.
Yes.
And there was a panel of 6 people who sit on the endorsement committee who were part of the questioning the candidates. One of the questions, folks, was, what is the plan for your campaign between the primary and the general election should you advance from the primary? Now, Brayden knew one of the guys who sat on this panel, and
the person that was mainly asking the questions.
So,
and I can't remember his name. That's in the notes.
I'm finding, and Red left the notes in the car. So, anyway, this gentleman was almost solely responsible for developing the list of questions.
Yep.
Brayden happened to know that this gentleman was also actively
getting signatures and campaigning
for one of Brayden's competitors in the primary, Nate Pollnow, the establishment pick.
Correct.
And so when that question was brought up, what are your plans?
Thank you, Catherine. John Bucamp.
There we go.
Thank you.
And he's also the chair of the Jefferson County Republican Party, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So Brayden was a little vague in his response about what the strategic plan was after the primary, because
and he also asked a couple of his opponents, what did you tell them your campaign plan? And 2 of those candidates said absolutely not.
So all 3 of the candidates who are not being allowed to speak at convention were very vague in that response. And in part, understand, one of the people asking these questions was working on somebody else's or
the
at
quote
least
unquote front runner,
helping with the establishment picks campaign.
Yep.
To what extent, I'm not sure, other than he's getting nomination signatures.
Yep.
But he's working enough with the campaign that the other 3 Secretary of State candidates were reluctant to divulge campaign secrets.
Yeah.
And why would you? And they're completely understandable.
And we did ask other former candidates, state candidates, did you answer these questions? And they said, absolutely not. We would never. answer. Why would you give out your
nobody,
campaign secret
nobody would. I mean,
or your
there are
plan?
some things. I mean, you're going to be very general with that.
Yeah,
The things
you
you're
say
going
the
to
things that you're going to divulge the things you need to say
do.
to get people on your side.
And some things are given. You know,
Yep.
there are some things you're going to do as a
Candidate.
candidate.
Okay, just making sure
Pizza
that's the word.
fatigue. Pizza fatigue.
I know
And
that pizza was so
but
good.
in terms of being very detailed, they were reluctant to provide information. So Brayden received the feedback then from the endorsement committee.
So this took place on Friday, and on Monday they sent an email, and that's when they stated you're not eligible to speak at convention. You did not meet the criteria
And one of the criteria that they mentioned was that they didn't believe
about
he
the
had a
campaign
viable
plan.
strategic plan.
Yep.
Between the primary and
And
the
the
general
general.
election. Now, I've since learned through Brayden that there's a 28-day window or a 30-day. No, what was it?
Well, while you're trying to think of that,
you go.
I
Go
also
ahead.
want to state, some people, and I didn't know because I hadn't gotten a chance to confirm with Brayden, but people were kind of concerned that he was on the rules committee for convention. And how we found out you get on the rules committee is each county will nominate some people to go on to the rules committee. Then the county membership votes yes or no. And yes, Brayden was elected to be on the rules committee. However, since he's gotten that email, was it the same day or the next day? I think it was the same day he got the email. So Monday, when he got the email saying he cannot be at convention or he cannot speak at convention, he got a phone call from the county chair in Manitowoc County saying he is no longer, they want him to voluntarily resign from the rules committee because, mind you, that Brayden started his own patriot group because of the way that the county party was, they've been trying to kick him out. And Brayden brought to their attention last year, you can't make up these rules until caucus. And the county chair was not very happy with him. And that's why I said, Brayden, make sure that he reads everything in those constitutions to see what's allowed and what's not. So he said, no, I will not resign. The membership people voted me in.
And it was a unanimous vote at the county level.
Exactly. So they ended up taking it a step further. They, as in the county chair and the board, they took it a step further and said, if you're not going to voluntarily resign, we're going to have a meeting and we're going to have you removed. And that's exactly what they did. So they went against what their own members voted on, and they took it upon themselves to remove him from the rules committee. So he's being railroaded at every step of the way. Every step.
Okay, so let me very quickly, get to this. And this was a press release today, so I'm just going to read the paragraph regarding that 30-day. Additionally, the RPW Endorsement Committee's own policy, which Myer's campaign was provided only 3 days prior to the interview, states that candidate interviews must be conducted at least 30 days before the convention. Myer's interview was conducted only 28 days before the convention, and was given just 2 days' notice that the interview would even take place.
So they're going against their own rules.
And I will point out the other thing, because Brayden is not allowed to speak, Myer has also been notified that he is not allowed to purchase a suite and table at the convention due to this decision.
Yep.
So
if you're speaking, that's the only way you get to have a table or purchase a table or a suite. So, and you can't even lay out your merchandise, your information at somebody else's.
So they
So,
are really railroading these three other candidates, and I'm
and
I'm
I
gonna
will say one of those candidates, though, felt that it wasn't very necessary to even show up for the interview. They sent in a letter, and I don't know if they obviously didn't accept the letter, or the person was denied speaking as well.
now that might be because that candidate didn't. Maybe they just figured, well, I haven't met the
Right.
monetary criteria, so I'm not even going to bother driving there
Yep.
for the interview. Um, but
But Brayden is the only one, and I don't even know if the quote unquote front runner. I don't know if he even met the criteria
well,
monetarily. I assume
well,
he did.
unless this goes, the underhandedness of this goes much deeper, I would say he met the
Yeah,
criteria because
that's why I
otherwise
just
it's
assumed.
very uh, suspect
Hmm.
what's going on.
Yep. So
But
Brayden was the only other one out of the four candidates.
we believe. I mean, the financials have not been made
Well,
public yet, so
I
we
don't
don't.
know about the one that sent in the letter, but the other one, I don't want to mention names. Um, he did not meet that because he's self-funded. So,
But either way, the bottom
yeah.
line is number one. It's my opinion, and I want to get some feedback from anybody listening. If you've got a comment or an opinion on what transpired with the Secretary of State race in Wisconsin, please raise your hand. But it's my opinion that anybody who is
On the ballot.
willing to put their name on a ballot
Yeah.
and run for any position, I think all candidates should have the opportunity to speak before the convention.
And one other thing that I think is kind of funny is signatures aren't even due until June 1st. So, technically speaking, all four of these candidates aren't even on a ballot yet.
Right,
So,
but
therefore,
if
they
you're
still should all be able to speak.
if you're going to hold your convention before the signatures are due, and you can't verify that someone has met that threshold, then
Exactly.
let them all speak. I mean,
Exactly.
the RPWs, to my knowledge, I mean, that's my opinion. I'm going to stick to
Absolutely.
that because I think the minute you put your name on a ballot, you are a viable candidate, and it
Exactly.
shouldn't come down to a measurement stick that the RPW has that says if you've raised this much money, now you're good to go.
Yeah, because if you think about it, and this is also just my opinion, if you go to the convention, maybe you didn't get your dollar amount that you raised. Um, what if the people end up hearing you and they like you and they vote, hey, I want to endorse this one, and it's not the quote unquote front runner? Then the money would follow.
And I just hope that we find a way to get this right. This one thing. I think
Exactly.
I think that people need to be able to speak because only the people can decide who we believe is the best candidate.
Exactly.
And going back 4 years ago to 22,
Hmm.
I remember Tim Ramthin was told the same thing, and I had a conversation with Tim. He had to raise $100,000 to be able to speak at convention,
Correct.
and I don't know how many donors he had to have, but
I'm not
but
sure.
he had that similar kind of a push that Brayden Myer put on to let's raise the funds, and Tim raised the funds and was allowed to speak at convention
Yep.
and delivered a really good convention speech in 22.
Hmm.
But this is a problem, and it's frustrated a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And when people see this,
Absolutely.
and it's kind of been all over social media.
Yep.
It really has been, and whether it's and we're talking a lot about Brayden Myer tonight, in part because Brayden met the party's criteria.
Correct.
But I will defend Jay Schroeder and Cindy Werner on this one as well.
Absolutely.
Because I think they should all three have the opportunity to speak.
Well, all four of them.
At convention. Well, all four.
Yep.
Yep. But we know that Pollnow is going to speak
He's
at the
the
convention.
only one that's able to speak.
And that gives you
and unless anything has changed since this all came out,
I don't
You
know what
know,
I don't know what
I
the
think
term.
all four of them should be able to speak,
I don't
along
know.
with any other uh, position. You know, whether it be lieutenant governor, governor. Well, there's only one in governor. Well, no, there's two at governor actually. Um, whatever position, treasurer. I don't care. If you put your name out there and you are collecting signatures to get on that ballot, you should have every right to speak at convention.
And I haven't heard with the lieutenant governor's race. We do have a contested race there. We've got Will Martin and David Varnum, who are both candidates.
There's three. I don't remember the third person, and I apologize.
And I don't either, but I know. Okay, so Varnum and Will Martin are the front runners. If there's a third one, it's completely slipping my mind, and I'll put it as pizza fatigue.
Absolutely.
But again, they should all have the opportunity to address the convention, and we see it. And do I want a strong party? Well, hell yeah, we
Oh,
do.
of course.
Hell yeah, we do. We want it to be unified, but this is just another one of those issues that I think can create some division within the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got some people who are saying, well, they didn't meet the threshold. And you've got other people who are saying, let them all speak.
Exactly.
And how do you bring those people together? Because, Red, I've had this conversation with you and folks, and since I've come over to the right, and this is a difficult one for me because I was on the left during Act 10, and I slept on the floor of our Capitol during Act 10, and I was one of the 100,000 people that had the insurrection, and it was. I mean, we took over that Capitol building, and I was a part of that, and I opposed Act 10 at the time. And well, we
break time.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, let's
time.
jump into our break because we got a lot we have to cover. You're going to see the address scrolling a lot along the bottom of the screen, folks. We're asking you to write letters to Judge Daniel Johnson out of Walworth County. He's the judge that will rule on Harry Waite's sentencing June 2nd. Harry also put in a motion for a new trial. We're asking you for handwritten letters. Go to Harry's Army on Facebook. We've also got accounts on X, and
X is Harry's Army 2026.
Okay, and what are the other ones? Facebook,
Telegram, and Signal.
And there's a bulleted list of items that you can include in your letter. And folks, the letters are pouring in.
Yes, and we've actually been able to read some of them, and they're amazing.
They are absolutely amazing, and they're rolling in, and we are going to make a difference in this. We will make a difference, but we have to send the letters in. So please keep them coming, because I can tell you when you go to CCAP, those letters are being entered as part of the hearing.
Part of the record, the court records.
You will see only 8 or 9, but I can assure you that there are many more than that. And we spoke to one of the attorneys who's been able to see all of them, and they are very impressed with the number and the quality of the letters coming in.
Yes.
So please keep the letters coming in for Harry Waite. Red and I are going to... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, were you going to say something about Harry?
No, I forgot.
Okay. Red and I are going to be taking on some other projects this summer because we're going to have a little little more free time, I think, this summer. So, we want to hit some areas that, if you have something unique to your city, town, or village that you want the world to know about, please shoot us an email at screechowlscott@gmail.com, and we're going to go and we'll do little segments on cool little things, whether it's whether you live in Seymour and you're proud of the fact that you are home of the hamburger, or you live in Two Rivers and you're proud because you could lay claim to the ice cream sundae. We want to we're going to travel around and we're going to pick up some of these cool items. And I'm going to you've heard me talk about pizza fatigue, and I'm going to talk about a cool little place. I want to put it up there. I'm going to put a picture up there because tonight, Red and I, the music's going to end, but that's okay because...
we wanted to get something to eat before the show, which normally we end up eating after the show, but we were really hungry today. So we wanted to hurry up and get a pizza or something before the show.
So I'm going to
So-
put a plug in for Port Sandy Bay. And it's not just pizza. This is in Two Rivers, right next to a cool campground and one of the Wisconsin's most beautiful beaches. I mean, kind of sits,
Minnesota.
right between the two.
Yep.
And
And they also have the home of the
coaster, the
the-
snow coaster.
Yep.
It's
the
like it's
huge
like a
pizza.
28-inch pizza that
And
will
no,
feed.
that's not what we got,
No, we didn't. But we did get the 17-inch, and
which was still way
I
too big.
devoured most of my half. And that's why I'm suffering from pizza fatigue. So I'm going to throw out we're going to put in a plug for Port Sandy Bay. It's not just pizza they have, though. They have fish and sandwiches, burgers,
A full menu.
appetizers. Check them out if you're ever in Two Rivers.
Yeah, so
and
if you have, like you said, something unique to your town, or want us to come and visit somehow, talk about your business, talk about the town, talk about the whatever, let us know, and then we'll do the same thing for you.
we want to do that. We recognize the importance of
Small
mom and pop small businesses and
Especially
one
Patriot-owned.
one of a kind places like this. And I have no way of knowing if these guys are Patriot owned,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
Oh,
but
no. We'll do it on all
But
small.
you know what, Red? It's good food and it's
Oh, yeah.
priced really well.
Definitely.
And we're just going to put in plugs for people like this. And we're going to go visit the Fish Museum in Two Rivers and find out what the fishing museum is all about.
There's a fish museum in
There's
Two
a
Rivers.
fishing museum
Didn't
in
know
Two
that.
Rivers.
See,
Along, and we can go get the ice cream sundae at the Ice Cream Sundae Museum.
exactly.
So that's what we want to spend some time doing this summer. So again, if you have a small business that you want to promote it on Rippin' Rabbit Hole, and who knows, maybe we're going to put some of these out on TikTok too.
Yep, on TikTok. Corey does say that they are big patriots.
There we go.
Thank you, Corey.
You heard it from Corey, and I remember we did have a pretty nice conversation the night that we went with
Corey
and
and
Tommy
and Heather. Yep.
So yeah, we want to promote some small businesses and
The walleye. She said the walleye.
the walleye.
Remember, you guys had a problem with, or not a problem with the walleye. Somebody said, "Oh, I thought we were getting pizza," and everybody ended up ordering walleye.
I had perch myself.
Oh, okay.
But
anyway,
in any event, if you own a small business or you have something cool in your town that you want to promote,
yep, let us know,
let us know, and we'll do a road trip. And I don't care where you are in Wisconsin.
Nope, I don't care.
Now, unfortunately, it's got to be in Wisconsin. If you're listening in Kentucky, as
Then-
much as I want to promote your business, maybe you can shoot the video for us and send it in to us, and we can still promote it that way.
Right.
But
And it
unfortunately,
doesn't have to be a restaurant. It could be just anything
No.
unique.
no, it could be the ARC exhibit in
Oh, I would-
Kentucky. I'd love for
I would
someone
love
to
to
send
do
us a
that
video
one.
of that. But anyway, that's our.
Now I want to go to
that's
that
one.
one.
That's one of our plans for the summer is just to check Wisconsin out and see some things that we don't know about. Right, Red?
Right.
All
Right,
right.
Screech.
So Port Sandy Bay got the first one.
Yes, they did.
So just here's a hint too. If you have a nice little restaurant and you have like deep fried cheese curds and you want to entice me, you tell me you'll slide me a couple cheese curds to go
Oh,
with the food
jeez.
that I order, and then I'm
No.
more likely to show up. No,
No,
that would be bribery.
That's
All right. All right, enough
that's
of that,
not
Red.
what we're gonna do.
Enough of that, Red. Get your letters into Harry Waite
Absolutely.
on behalf of Harry Waite.
And we got what? Well, the hearing is June 2nd, so we have about 2 weeks from today is my personal deadline because
Which is what date?
it's a Wednesday, the 27th,
Yeah, that's a good time
Just
frame because we
because-
have to give the judge time to read them.
and for mail time to get from your point A to point B.
Yeah, target like 2 weeks from today.
Yep.
If a couple come in after that, I think it'll be okay. But we don't want him to be overwhelmed on June 1st because he may not have an opportunity to read them.
Right.
And these are the ones that we were able to read, and just a very
That's so amazing.
small sampling of what's been submitted. They were very impactful.
Brought me to tears.
And I think that these are the kind of letters that will impact the judge's decision with any luck.
Yep.
All right. So what were we talking about right before we went on? I was talking about Act 10, And there are people who think that because of the way I've been talking, and I don't mean to like trash on the Republican Party, but I'm going to call them out when they're making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And this SOS thing was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard a lot of people talk about unity, and I can tell you folks, they better find a way. And one of the things the state party could do would be to let the candidates speak at the convention, I think, to bring this group of people together. Because they are going to need them to come together. Because
Oh yeah.
having come from the left, I can tell you folks, the left is looking at a trifecta.
Exactly.
And we've had a lot of assembly reps jumping out late.
Well, heck, we had
very late.
The last one that we seen was just like a week ago. It's like, how are you supposed to get the signatures in X amount of time? I mean, granted, you don't need as many in that.
But you still have to
smaller
develop
race.
a campaign. You got to
Exactly.
file all the paperwork,
The
and then
websites and everything.
and then go out to get the 200 to 400 signatures that you need for an assembly race. And we've had several of them that jumped out late.
Mhm.
And
Yep. And conveniently, you have somebody replacing them that either the same day or the very next.
and this will be for another show. But I can tell you the left is going to be motivated because they're going to put Act 10 out there. They're going to
Oh yeah.
they're going to say, if we get the trifecta, Act 10 is coming down. And for all my friends on the right who are just, they hang their hat on Act 10. They're proud of Act 10. They love Act 10. If you want to keep Act 10, you better get your crap together.
Exactly.
Because Act 10 is going to go away if you don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means.
I don't either, because honestly, I never understood Act 10, but that's a different story.
You better maintain one leg of this legislative body.
Yep.
If you can't have the majority in all three,
mm-hmm.
you better hang on to one leg.
Exactly.
Or there's going to be problems, and you're not going to like them.
Nope.
And it's going to go way beyond Act 10, but that's one of them that they're going to go after. So let's go back, and I do see that we had...
Hang on. Down ticket races. Yep, absolutely are. Now, Catherine said Nick Paulus changed his mind and is running against Ellen Schuett and Sandy Wiedemeyer. Is that the Secretary of State? That's a different name altogether. So I'm not sure who.
I think he was running for lieutenant. He was gonna run for lieutenant governor, and he never put his signature pages out at my county party. Okay. So we knew something was up, but not what he ended up doing. He's from Delavan, which is in Walworth County. Okay. But he was gonna run for lieutenant governor, and then somebody must have talked him out of it.
So now that assembly race has become a 3-person race. Is that what you're saying, Catherine?
Yep. Well, no, Senate race, but
I'm sorry, Senate.
Yep. Honestly, if I could predict, they don't want Ellen, so they're determined to split the vote so that they're hoping she doesn't get in.
And that's the kind of play that is just very troubling to me.
Exactly.
So Catherine, do you have a thought on what's happening with our 4 Secretary of State candidates that we talked about in the first half?
No, just that I think the whole process is skewed and on purpose, but it's really no different than in other states. I mean, when I lived in Iowa, you saw some of the same kind of shenanigans, but part of it was because people weren't as involved either until Obama. And then people got more involved and paid attention. But basically, the hierarchy of the state party is controlled by a good portion of people that I hate to say donors, because some of it's donors, but not all of it's donors. But it's like once they get in to like district positions and higher up, they never leave. So it doesn't give other people opportunities to get involved in the party. Like in District 1, 2 sisters have been involved for a long time and with a lot of things. And another gentleman that I know that was a delegate, one of the 2 delegates that went to, I think, national or state convention. I'm not sure which. Anyway, it's interesting how it all works, and it's sad because you don't the lower level, the people that go to meetings and do all the work hardly ever get to move up into those other positions. So just my 2 cents. And later I've got a story to tell you guys about what happened to me at the county party meeting a week ago.
Okay.
So
All right. And we do have a hand raised. Go ahead, Ken. Ken Sikora is in the backstage. You have the floor, sir.
Well, I will say Catherine's exactly right. That there's people on this committee that are compromised. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, we can, Ken.
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely people. When she mentions the Travers sisters, you know, Kim is a district chairman, and her sister is an RNC chairwoman, and you know, they both work for Ron Johnson. So when Ron Johnson says don't put your name on a piece of paper to recall the chairman, they don't put their name on a piece of paper. Then you go to John Bushin, who works in the Capitol. Nice kid, just got elected onto the committee. He wasn't our choice on our side, but you know, same thing. He was told if you sign this piece of paper to do this, you will never step foot in the Capitol and work again. And then you have, you know, Hannah Teston. She's married to Pat Teston, who's the Senate, I believe he's Senate president now, or one of the leadership. And, you know, so there's threats everywhere you look. There's people that are compromised. So she's exactly right. And in regards to the Brayden situation, I think Brayden's on this chat.
Is
I think I see his name down there, but I will tell you, I've worked tirelessly for the last 3 weeks to get him on that stage, and we'll see what happens this weekend. I still think there's a chance, but my opinion is that the second part of the process is what's wrong. I think there does need to be some kind of criteria for what gives someone the ability to speak. A simple criteria, right? The money and the signatures make sense. Is it excessive or not? I don't know, but I think the $1 million a couple years ago was excessive for a Senate seat. But it's built to show that they can raise money and get signatures, right? So I'm okay a little bit with that. I'm not okay with the second part of the process. It's totally subjective. Whether or not Brayden gave them the campaign information, it's nobody's business. It's not our business to be subjective. We should, if he met the requirements, I've seen his requirements. I've seen Nate's. Both of them met it. He should be allowed to speak, plain and simple. And I've spoken endlessly about this. I've spent days on the telephone about this. So,
well, I think everybody back here appreciates that, Ken. And I know that
Thank
Ken,
you for that, Ken.
I know, Ken, that like you as a county chair, you've welcomed like really any candidate who's willing to put their name on the ballot to come and speak before your membership.
yeah.
And I think that's good for the process. So I applaud you for that.
Yep.
But
the only part you got to watch, like you have the young guy that's running for governor, right? And I spoke to him. I didn't tell him he couldn't come and speak at our meetings, but he only raised $1,500, you know, as a governor candidate for 6 months. I don't think he's serious, you know. And then he called me further by calling me and asked if I would support him to run for chairman of the state party because he's a governor candidate. So you have someone like him, I think he's using the system, you know, to try to get somewheres. So you can understand where maybe there needs to be a requirement. Are we going to put that guy on stage and let him try to run for an endorsement when, you know, I have county board candidates that raise more money than that. You know what I mean? So I don't want money to be the sole deciding factor, but it does have to be, there has to be some kind of criteria. Does that make sense?
I guess, you know, I understand what you're saying. I do struggle with the money a bit, and I'm going to
Yeah.
put and I know you also serve as district chair, so you maybe have but I'd love to hear your opinion. So let's look at Jay Schroeder as an example. Jay ran in 2 or 4 years ago for the same position, and I think he came out of the primary the winner. Am I right?
No,
Amy.
He won the primary,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think 8 years ago.
Yep. So
but
Amy's something.
but where someone like Kent now, Ken has
And he,
had statewide races before, so his
no,
name
Jay had state
J.
right,
I'm sorry,
not Ken.
Ken Jay. What? Jay has had his name on a statewide ballot before, so he's got some statewide recognition.
And Jay did
And
tell us that he was self-funded this time around.
if he's saying I'm self-funding and he's got a team to do the boots on the ground thing, I mean, shouldn't someone like Jay or Cindy Werner, who was also on a statewide ballot
In
previously,
2022.
I mean, I just see
Yeah,
these
yeah,
four.
because I would say, see, that's where it gets a little sticky. Yeah, I would say definitely. I just think they should speak. Cindy's shown she's a serious individual. She's recognized throughout the state for her work, and she has campaigned. I don't know why she didn't even try to meet, like, her and Jay didn't even try to meet the criteria. I don't know why, but I agree. Jay got 1.3 million votes 8 years ago. You got to kind of take that seriously. Um, so it should, yeah, it's a question. I think it has to go back to the drawing table and say, hey, and maybe, this is where my problem with my executive committee that I belong to as a state party member is that we should be getting more input. This should not be up to 32 people. I've said we should include all the chairmen at certain times for advice on certain things. We should take input from the county parties. These people don't take input from anybody. They know everything. I actually had someone on a comment. I'm sure you've seen the whole thing with Jessica McBride this week, but said that I was a junior member of the committee, and I'm raising too much of a ruckus for a junior member. What exactly does that mean?
Well, to me, a
Does
junior
that mean
member doesn't mean squat. You're
yeah,
a
no,
member,
no, it
period.
doesn't. It doesn't mean that'd be like saying Donald Trump hasn't been president long enough to decide what we should do in the country. No, it doesn't work
Exactly.
that way. You elect him and he serves.
And
So there's
people
this
elected you to
attitude.
get stuff done, so therefore,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if
yep,
you're junior, senior.
yeah. And another thing that Kathy's right about, when she spoke earlier a couple minutes ago, is that there is definitely people get on this board. I've watched people change. I have one person that got on was elected as a change agent at the same time that I was, and I've watched that person now decide to run for legislature, and so she needs Rat's blessing, and she needs money and support. So now she's totally against me. She's voted against the group that got her elected because she has a different desire now. And I've watched other people just get real weak. They like to be part of the club. I don't really need to be part of any club. My club is winning. I want to win. I want to see our state. You heard me talk about unity once in a while. I want to see our state unify around ideas and principles, not around people. And not around the idea that unity means we all listen to one person.
So
So
to that point, Ken, I have seen a lot, and I know you push for a unified party. I see
Yep.
it all the
yeah,
time, and I respect that. But now, can you also understand, like when some of us sit back and look and we see the things that happen, and I'll specifically say Brayden, because if the state
yeah,
party has criteria and the other two didn't meet the criteria, then let's just look at Brayden's situation, where Brayden is one of them that made he met the criteria and
yeah.
still being denied. And I mean, you have to understand how that can create some real
Oh yeah.
trouble
I'll
with.
go a step farther with you, Scott. Not only did he meet the criteria, but as a new member of RPW, I worked hard to figure out what the next step was. And very few people knew what the next criteria was. It's like a mystery of life. So literally, when I was trying to help him and give him advice going into this meeting, I couldn't give him great advice because people that served on the committee before didn't know anything about it. It's like a secret club. These 6 or 7 people that decide this. So, yeah. So that. It's even worse as far as I'm concerned. This should be an open, transparent process.
Absolutely.
Well, I thank you for chiming in and offering your opinion on this, Brayden. I do see that you're in the backstage, and as we sit right now, it's possible you are not going to be given the opportunity to speak at convention, and I think all three of you other candidates should be allowed to speak, but you're in the backstage. You met the state's criteria. Do you have anything you want to add and tell these people uh, who are listening in the backstage and the people who are listening on YouTube and Rumble?
Well, what I can say is it's definitely not fair when you do meet the requirements, you bring more than enough proof, and they say, you know what, we're just going to put one candidate forward. You know, you have one person on that committee who's collecting nomination signatures for my opponent, and all of a sudden that opponent is the only one that is deemed viable. So I see a conflict of interest right there. If you haven't seen my press release, feel free to go on my social media. If you're on Facebook, it's Brayden Myer for Freedom. Otherwise, if you're on X or Instagram, just search up my name and you can read my press release as to what all happened. You know, I was only given 3 days advance notice that these requirements actually, you know, existed. I mean, really, 3 days before the interview happened, and then only 2 days before the interview happened, I was actually notified there was an interview to do. And when that interview happened, you know, in the policy for the endorsement committee, they say they have to do their meetings at least 30 days before the state convention, and they only did mine 28 days before. So they broke their own policy there. And so I would just say, you know, read my press release and, you know, make sure to vote for Brayden Myer on August 11th is what I would say.
So Brayden, I'm going to put this as a standing invitation to you. Anytime that you are free on a Wednesday or Thursday night and you want to come on and chat for the hour about, uh, and I'm going to extend that to the other two as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to be able to give you the voice that you're not being given by the RPW at state convention. So anytime you're free, sir, you know, let us know and we will get you in so that you can talk about your campaign and you know, share everything about your platform.
What he wants to divulge, because you don't want to give the
It,
secrets.
and we will want to know what your campaign strategy is, Brayden,
Yeah.
from
Otherwise, you can't come on the
from
show.
August
No, I'm just
11th
kidding.
until November. No, we are just kidding,
We are
Brayden.
kidding.
But I know that you have everybody back here believes that you should have the opportunity to speak at convention. There's not a single person back here
Put that on.
who doesn't agree with that you've met the criteria. Hold on, I'm looking red.
Technical difficulty.
No,
No, it wasn't technical difficulty that time. Anyway,
pizza overload.
you're just going to blame that pizza. Anyway, no, I think that, another part of what I was going to say is maybe they should learn to move the convention to after the deadline for the signatures. Because what if, and I know I'm not saying that he won't get the signatures, that Nick guy, but, or Nate.
Nate
Sorry,
Pollnow.
I seen Nick earlier. I'm not saying he won't, but what if he didn't get that threshold to even make it onto the ballot, but then he's the only one that's able to speak? That wouldn't make much sense. So maybe we should find out who's even going to be on the ballot before the convention in order to see who can actually speak.
Well, and if they're going to endorse it, and I agree with you, Red, if you're going to hand out endorsements at the convention, and in this case, in the case of the Secretary of State, it's completely wrong for them to.
Bruce and Jody.
So
Okay,
Brayden, I'm gonna read something to you. Somebody in the backstage said I clicked on the link on Brayden's page, and it says I am blocked and can't access WinRed at this time. What the heck? So I don't know if there's an issue there, Brayden. It sounds like someone tried to click on a WinRed and wasn't able to access it. So it might be something you have to look into if you're still listening.
It could be a technical issue, or if you're using a VPN, that happens sometimes.
All right.
That makes
So,
sense.
In any event, please take advantage of the standing invitation, Brayden, because we'd love to talk to you for an hour and you know, let some of these people throw some questions out at you. You're a remarkable young man, and
Mm-hmm.
I know that folks would love to hear from you.
And Keeter asked, can Brayden or someone post his site so I can start sharing it?
So
And Pick Your Brain. That was by Nan, Pick Your Brain. So yeah, we'll definitely have him on, and then
so Brayden, if you heard that, we've got people in the backstage that want to pick your brain and talk to you and learn more about you. So,
she meant, Keeter said he meant Nate because he originally said Nick, but it's Nate.
All right. In
Anyway.
any event, we are up against the hour red. I made it through my pizza fatigue.
Barely.
So I'm just going to point this out very quickly as we wind up the show. At the bottom of the screen, you've seen the address scrolling the entire hour. We got to get our letters in on behalf of Harry Waite.
Yes. And like I said, there's no specific deadline, but I would suggest by the 27th. And it doesn't matter if you're from Wisconsin or if you're from out of state.
No, get those letters in from everywhere.
Yep.
If you've written a letter for Tina Peters, write one for Harry Waite, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to Tina Peter Harry Waite.
Yep, Tina Peter
So,
2.0.
If you
And I will say, I do know some people, one person from Tennessee, and I know a person from Illinois that are planning on sending in letters because they do know Harry Waite from the backstage.
And on the flip side to that, if you've written a letter for Harry Waite, take the time to write one for Tina Peters and send it off to Colorado, because
Harry's actually requested us to do that.
We need to support both of these people.
And thank you, Corey and Brayden, for both putting Brayden's website in the backstage.
So you guys are welcome to hang around. If you're listening on YouTube or Rumble and you want to join the conversation, the link is in the chat. Click on that link. It'll pop you right back in here. You don't have to have a password or username, just like
my vote.
My vote. So come on back to rippandrabbithole.com and join the conversation. I don't know. Maybe candidate Myer will be able to hang around. I know he's traveling tonight.
Yep, he is. And tomorrow night, I don't know what we're talking about tomorrow night yet. I have some ideas, but not totally solid yet. But tomorrow night, 8 p.m., Tin Hat Thursday. Friday, I'm not sure what AJ's going to talk about, but
AJ the Rippin' Rabbit Hole, or AJ the Rippin' Rabbit will be back with another episode of Rippin' Rabbit Hole Live
at 8 p.m. on Friday.
And of course, every Sunday morning we have two or more.
Only backstage. It's not broadcast. At 10:30 a.m. the two or more gathering. And it was this last Sunday. What we read fit in perfectly with what I'm doing with my second business.
We are studying John right now, and if you don't belong to a church and you want some good fellowship and some worship music and just the opportunity to study the Bible a little bit, come back here 10:30 every Sunday morning.
Or if you're on the campaign trail and can't make it to a physical church that you do belong to, always come back here and join us for some Bible study.
And
other than that,
write letters to Harry Waite. If you want us to come visit your town, if you got a cool little waterfall or a cool little restaurant, you just want to put it out there, you want the world to know about you
and be promoted,
Red and I'll put it out on Rippin' Rabbit Hole, and maybe one day we'll flip on over to TikTok and make some spooky videos.
Yes. But in the meantime, we're going to stop wasting your time. Because we got a republic to save. Have a good night, everyone.
Every voice matters, every voice dares.